welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. I hope you guys are excited to go on a little adventure with me. I am going to share with you how I'm going to document my reading for the month of December, and things got a little carried away, so this video is a little bit longer, but I wanted to show you kind of my thought process and how my original idea started, and then it kind of morphed into something else until I got this. So I made a little book. It's kind of like a pop-up book, and I had an amazing time playing and putting it together, and so I'm excited to share it with you and all the different steps that I went through. Now there is some coloring in here, which is so much fun, but when I'm coloring I might just add in some music. I have to talk through the whole thing, but I'm excited to share it with you. And I hope that you guys enjoy. I hope you have a project or a drink ready, and here we go. Let's get started on this crazy project that I have. Like I said in my introduction, I was not expecting it to get so out of control, I guess, or I was just having a wonderful time trying to figure out how I wanted to document my reading for December. So my original idea was to take this notebook paper and make a Christmas tree with my books on the shelf. I quickly realized that the main stamp set that I use is this one from Studio Calico, and it would make it a very weird tree. Like I could have like 2 paper strips in between each of the shelves, and I thought that might work. I also pulled out the Syncopation Designs bookshelf stamp, but hers are really small and I don't know if I could like write anything in them. But that didn't really matter because I like to do flip ups for my book covers, but I just didn't like it. I felt like maybe it looked too weird. I don't know. I just didn't like it. And so I decided to kind of scrap that idea, but I think it could certainly work if it doesn't matter to you, about how big the books are, or, you know, it could work. It could work if you're just doing a simple way to document your reading. So I really, really loved this paper. Like, I just love it. And I love the idea of really embracing all the colors for December daily. And when I was thinking about books, I thought about this paper and making a mini book to document my reading. And so my adventure begins. I took my paper and I trimmed off a portion of it so that way it would fit on a 7x8.25 paper, and then I folded it in half at 5.5 inches. And once I did that, I went back and looked at it and I was like, oh wow, that looks really amazing. I am going to make a little book that just pops off the page, kind of like a pop-up book, but not really a pop-up book. So that was my intention. And things are going to get crazy, like I tell you. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this, because I just have to laugh at myself and the whole process. But again, I was very thankful that I had the time to kind of work this out and figure out my idea. So I think I took 2 or 3 papers, just white paper, and I folded them in half, because I figured if I am going to be documenting my reading, I could add in some extra pages to include photos of the books. Like, I don't know what the word is, but like in real life, do the books. Like if I'm reading the book, I take a photo of me and the book and a snack. That's something that I just did recently. So I could include those type of photos. I can include cozy reading. So books of me, or photos of me actually reading, besides just the covers or my ratings. So that was my thinking behind extra paper. I also wanted to include this story paper as well, because it had the word story. I don't know how I'm going to include it, because if I cut it, it's not going to work at all. So I might just cut out the stories. I then decided to look in this box of cardstock tags and inserts and thought, oh, I really like this super thankful one. Not really realizing that because it's
thick, it's not gonna be very conducive to a flip book. Like, this flip book has to be thin paper or vellum. It can't really be anything beyond that because it's just not gonna flip very well. So at this point, I have not figured that out, and I am going to try to sew my book together. Oh my goodness. I thought, well, I've already sewn lights, so I should just keep that theme going. And I could just sew the book together and look at me binding books. It was not going to work. So I'm trying to figure out my configuration right now with the different papers and realizing that I do have a lot of papers. And I think I am going to cut out one of the papers because I don't need one of the papers. Because it was a lot of paper in there. And again, I wasn't so sure how I'm going to turn this into a pop-up book. I still at this point had no idea. I'm just hoping that, binding it will work. And so that's what I start to do. I start punching holes all over the place. And then I get a ruler and I'm like, well, maybe I should make sure the holes are straight. At this point, the holes are not straight. It's all crooked. And you can see I thread the needle and I actually tied a knot so that way it wouldn't come through. So that's great. I mean, that was a step in the right direction from last time where it got all crazy. And I couldn't thread the needle. So that's a great step in the right direction. But I could not get my needle through these holes. It was so difficult. And I opened it and saw that the Super Grateful thick cardstock was literally falling out. So I'm like, okay, we can't sew it. So how about we staple it? And so I decided to staple it. I also take out the Super Grateful and I put in a second piece of vellum because that's going to obviously work much better. And I can use the Super Grateful for something else at some other point. So I just trim my vellum and then I am going to go ahead and staple it. And then right after I staple it, I know that I have to fix the appearance of all the holes that I have punched in this paper. Or I could just simply chuck it at this point. But I'm like determined to figure out, how I can document my reading. So I'm going to carry on with making this come to life. My next step was to, like I said, cover up those holes, and my camera decided to cut out. So lots of things going on. I took the washi tape and I put 2 strips over the side to kind of cover all the messed up holes. And then on the inside, I took a vellum piece of red and gold stars and just added that to where the binding is, and just added some more adhesive to make sure it sticks. So my camera didn't cut out anymore, but it cut out on that important part. So now I have the book bound. Now I can start to work on the actual book and like the inside of it and decorating my various pages. This first opening page is essentially going to be the tree that I was trying to make from the very beginning, and it's going to turn out really cute. So I think, like I said, if you wanted to make this version of a book reading tree, you absolutely could. Like, you do not have to do the book covers like I do, because I like to do the book covers, print them out, do a flip up, and you'll see me construct some of those flip ups later on, but you certainly do not have to do all of that like I do. But I do want to include the flip ups, kind of like I do in my reading journal videos if you watch any of those. So I have taken several of the green pieces of paper from this year's paper pack to make my Christmas tree, and I did make the top branch really long. I have no idea why, but when I take photos or you see photos of the project, like on Instagram, you'll see that I have trimmed the top of the tree. So I am stamping 2 different shelves of books, and I did not clean my stamp well enough, so it was still wet and not absorbing ink very well. So it didn't stamp well the first time. Then I was like, well, you know what? I can totally align it up again. I'm a pro. No, I'm not a pro. I could not line it up. So I grabbed a piece of white paper and stamped it on the white paper. I also decided, since I was stamping it on the white piece of paper, I can go ahead and change the size of the books. So I made them slightly smaller than the stamped books usually are. So they're different sizes on that shelf and then the second shelf. And I can add that really large strip of paper. I am totally trimming it later on or off camera. And then I will add in a star to complete the tree. Now, to me, the books look like they needed some color. I was thinking, hey, maybe I have the digital stamp of this book stamp set. I didn't, not for this one. This one was Jennifer from Syncopation Designs. It's from her shop. I will link that in the description box. But I didn't have her digital version or Studio Calico's version. So I can't color them digitally. And so my next step is to just color them and hope it all works out. I grabbed all of my green markers and I am gonna color in every single one of the books. Now later on when I'm coloring in more of the shelves, if I'm not gonna talk to you through the coloring of my shelves, I'm just gonna put on a little bit of music. But essentially I'm just mixing in the different varieties of green to go with the monochromatic feel of the tree. So the coloring of the tree is all done, and now I was thinking, why don't I add some of the word phrases that I have from that stamp set? You can see it in the bottom left corner of the screen. I used the reason why on my reason why, and I used digital version of these a couple years ago to decorate my bookshelf. So I'm bringing them out again. I just love them to add a little title and a little something extra to the books. So I stamped twinkles, so thankful, traditions, giving, love, just little phrases, not on every single one, but enough. Now you turn the page and I am going to make a bookshelf, 2 bookshelves, and then over on the other side behind the vellum, I will make something else. And I will then color in all the books. Overall, it's a pretty simple design, but like I said, I made an entire flip book to document my reading. So I really hope that this year I read a lot of Christmas books. So far, I think I've already read 3 because I listened to Irish Christmas, and then I read The Christmas You Found Me, which was so good. I was crying by the end. I needed tissues. It was just wonderful. And right now I'm actually reading a kid's book called The Christmas Witch. I thought it was a graphic novel, like a full-length graphic novel, but it's actually just like a short picture book, maybe like 30 pages, but I'm really, really enjoying it. So I will have a cluster of books down on the bottom and up at the top, and then turn the stamp horizontal, and then I will make 2 of my flip ups for books, so I can print out the book at 1 inch wide and 1.5 inches tall. And then once I put the book cover down, I can add the rating or add the genre or whatever I want. You can see here I have my kind of stencil, I guess you could say, for the size of my book. And then I'm just cutting out the ho 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 paper because it is very colorful and goes with the theme of being colorful. I also wanted to try to make an effort this season to use blue. I mean, it is kind of the winter season. At least it feels like. I am so cold all the time. So I'm making an effort for blue, and I made a flip up for another book. So I will have 2 on this page, and then the rest will just be colored in books. Now, if I decide that I just want to write in a title on one of the books, I mean, I certainly can. It's my project, right? Okay, so on the next page, I decided to take that story paper. I don't know what this pack is called. I don't think it's even available anymore, but it was on super thin paper, which worked great for me since I needed thin paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out 2 of those and figure out a way to use them. like I said earlier, I was kind of stumbling over how to explain it, but I could use these to document me reading, either at night or in the morning, or just document like my breakfast bowl. I love reading with my breakfast bowl, so I could take a picture of my breakfast bowl and my book and then just include that inside the story bubble. So I have a pink one and a green one, and then I wanted to add something to the white space that I have, and I think I'm going to come back to that and stamp it in a little bit. So I thought I was going to come back and start on the other side, but then I was like, you know what? I really, really want to color in these books. This is where, again, I was looking for the digital stamp version of these books and seeing if I had it in my files. I didn't, so I decided to figure out which markers work the best to complement all the different colors in the pattern paper. And then I colored in all the different books, and I think it's going to look really fantastic and add so much oomph. That's what the teacher that I work with, she always says that, add a little extra oomph to the project. So that is definitely what I'm doing right now. And I have a pink, I have a blue, a dark blue, a green, and a red. So, and some neutrals, of course, like a brown neutral, I think. But it looks fantastic. And again, this particular page can hold 2 books that I'm reading. And then the opposite side of the page, I can have like 2 real life reading type photos. Okay, back to working on this page. I grabbed a stamp set from Syncopation Designs that is Christmas themed. I don't remember the exact title, but I will put it in my description box. It had some holly leaves, so I decided to use that in the corners. Originally, I thought I'd use the December Daily washi tape, but I didn't really like how it looked, so I just skipped that. I then stamped Snuggle Season down in the bottom left corner, which I love. That's such a great sentiment. And then Read More up in the top. You can see here I was trying out the washi. I didn't like it. So I'm going to go for some more books. I'm just going to stamp some on a piece of white paper, and then that way I can color it and trim it. And I think that winds up looking fantastic. I'm just loving the colored in books. It looks like just such a happy, festive shelf full of books, and I can't wait to document my reading more, and like I said earlier, hopefully read more Christmas books. I have a ton more this year, and so I am looking forward to just doing all the Christmas reading. I even ordered a ton of middle school books, not only for me, but also for my daughter, because she is now willing to read holiday type books. So very excited. Like one of the ones is about Grumpus. It's obviously about Krampus, but he's considered a Grumpus. So very excited. Do you guys like to read kid books, or what are you guys reading this holiday season? I would absolutely love to know. So I'm wrapping up the coloring of these, and then I can cut it out and add it to the top of the page. Next up is this double page spread with a vellum in between, and I decide to add a plastic tree in the middle, a blue color, again trying to embrace more of the blue color. And you guys, I'm obsessed with this tree and vellum, and I'm so glad that, serendipitously, I think that's how I'm saying it, but I figured out cardstock does not work in this insert, because adding in another piece of vellum and then this Christmas tree, I love it. I stapled it in, and I am gonna stamp out later on a couch, and then I read past my bedtime. Both of those are Syncopation Designs stamps, and I love them. So like I said, this is gonna be a double page spread, so I'm gonna do my best to do the shelves at the same point. So that way I have 2 total shelves of books. And I will also add in some stamping of gingerbread and a snow globe, and then also a little tree from a December Daily paper. So I only wind up getting 4 books on these total of these shelves. But like I said, you could totally write in the spines of these, and if I need to do that, I can do that. So I just didn't want to add so many spots for book covers and then feel like, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but feel like I let myself down and didn't read a lot of books, Christmas themed books or winter themed books, which is ridiculous, I know. But I just wanted to not necessarily do the minimum, but do enough that I felt like I was going to have enough spots, but not too many spots where I felt pressured to read all the books. So I think I have a total of 7 different books or book spots, and I think that's just perfect for reading this Christmas season. But who knows? I may have more because, like I said, I think I've already read 3 or 4 books already, and we haven't even hit December. You can see here I'm building my shelf, and then of course adding in the little gingerbread and the snow globes, which I think I already mentioned is from Jennifer's shop. I did buy the gingerbread stamp set from Ali Edwards, but I just haven't used it yet. I thought about using it for my shelves, but the scale felt off. It felt like the gingerbread would be way too big, like the size of the books, or not, if not bigger. So I didn't use the stamp set here. But one of my favorite treats is from Target, and it's gingerbread people. And so I may be using the stamp set for that. I just made a flip up using the Christmas tree pattern paper, and now I'm going to do one of the bow pattern paper. I did 2 of those. I love how it's a subtle use of the entire color palette in December Daily. So I'll have 2 of those, and then I had to go into my stash of papers to find a red paper. I felt like I couldn't find a red paper in this year's paper pack. I don't know. Or maybe I was just like, stop cutting up all the papers. I feel like that's what I do more than anything when I have December Daily papers, is that I cut them up and I like use them for paper piecing purposes, if that makes sense. So this is the red paper that I found. It has a little bit of gold sparkle to it, and I love it. So I cut the paper the size of my stencil and then add a little extra so that way I can fold it over and add it. Now, because I added a gingerbread man to the second shelf on the left, I couldn't fit a book cover there, so I will just have to skip that shelf and add in 2 book covers over on the top right hand side. But like I said, it's gonna turn out so good with all the festive colors and the trees and the gingerbread and the snow globe. I love it. It makes me so happy. Now, at the end, and I'll talk about this more, but it's gonna be a matter of, can this stay on the page that I have constructed or will construct to hold it. Now, if I was a person that sewed, I would probably make a sewn pocket for this to hold it in, but I'm not one of those people, so I'm just gonna rely on double-sided tape. So I sped up the coloring of these books to be a little bit faster, and of course, added the music because I don't need to talk about coloring, but this is just so much fun. And if you guys try it, you have to tag me some way, somehow. Mainly Instagram, that would work better, but I just love coloring in these books, and like I said, I found the perfect colors with my markers, and once I'm done with this, I can go ahead and stamp the couch, and I read past my bedtime and then color those in as well. I also colored in the snow globes with like a light gray. I didn't really have like a white that would work for the snow or the snowman, so I just went ahead and skipped those. So I definitely read past my bedtime. I'm currently on Thanksgiving break and staying up incredibly late reading. It is just so much fun. I mean, I might as well just be a little kid again and cover my head with a flashlight and read that way because I'm having the best time. And I love reading on the couch too with my blanket. So I, of course, had to stamp a couch, and it's one of my favorite stamps that I have. So I, of course, color the cloud blue, and then I color the stars kind of the yellow that I have from the Tombow, and I wind up cutting it out and leaving one of these stars behind. It was like the solid black star. It just wasn't going to work, and what happened is as I was fussy cutting out the cloud with the stars, it would have fallen off, and I would have had to glue it, on there by itself, and I didn't want to do that. I decided to go with the warm brown color. It kind of reminds me of cinnamon. Go with that for the couch, and once I have those done, I can cut it out and then add it to the top of my acetate tree, and it looks fantastic. I just love it. And then the last page kind of stumped me and as to how I could wrap up this journal. And then I did remember that Allie Edwards put out a read mini kit, and I think she's actually going to document a bunch of read ideas December 9th. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely putting together some photos in my iPhone about reading, and I'm excited to document reading. But anyways, I found the stamp set. I went back and stamped currently reading on top of one of the bookshelves on the first page. And then on this back page, I thought, what if I could figure out a way to do like a stats page like I do similar to my reading journal, but keep it very simple. So I added in a journaling card that says books are life, which is from the read mini kit. And then I stamped top 5. And I, again, thought I was awesome and thought I could stamp it and fix the boo-boo, but I could not. So I just grabbed white paper, stamped it again, and then adhered it on top. And I'll just put a little bullet list of my top 5 because the little stamp set comes with a circle. In hindsight, I probably should have just made my own bullet points with my markers, but I didn't think about that, and that's okay. And I left some room in case I want to add some other stats to this page. And down at the bottom, I'm going to add some more books. Of course, I love adding all the books. So I stamped another set of books, and then I will color those in as well. Fussy cut them out, and then add some trees and some stamping to wrap up the page. I once again took that tree paper and cut out a tree shape from that paper. Again, I think it's like paper piecing. I don't know, one of those techniques, but that's what it reminds me of. And I used to do that technique a lot when I first started scrapbooking. But I cut out one of the trees. I kind of lifted up the bookshelf that was laid down so that way I could tuck the tree into the corner, and then I put the books back, and I'm going to add in one of the tiny trees from a different pattern paper It has like sparkles on it or little white dots on it. Then I want to bring in some of that yellow from the journaling cards. So I grabbed a older December daily stamp set with like a cluster of dots and just stamped the yellow all over the place, and it looks so festive. It looks like snow. And the last little touch is going to be Book Love in red, and that is my little book. Now I have to get a base in order for it to be sturdy enough to like stay on the page, the 7 by 8.25. Get a sturdy base so that way it'll stay on there. I thought I could use the craft paper or craft packaging, I guess you could say, from the December Daily Kit that has gingerbreads on it. And I thought that would work, but I wanted to add one more layer in. So I grabbed another piece of like thin chipboard to add to the back of this gingerbread piece. And then whatever goes on the back of this journaling page, it could either be more reading photos or it could be a full page photo for a different day. But I decided to put the white portion facing inside, and I just used double-sided tape. And then I'm also going to use double-sided tape to adhere to the back of the journal. I did forget to add some double-sided tape to where the washi tape is, because I noticed after I got done filming and constructing this that the washi tape spine was kind of lifting. So I am going to add some washi tape to that spine with the washi. So I lay it all down on, lay it all together once I get the double-sided tape peeled, and then I can hole punch my holes again, make sure I have it, and then peel the tape off of this little book. And now I have an amazing little book. Well, it's not so little. It's pretty big. A big little book to document all the December reading, and it just looks amazing. And I had an absolute blast putting it together, and I love it. So now I'm going to put it into my album to kind of show you guys how it looks in the album. And I can't wait to add in some books to it. And I'm just excited to share this with you guys. I hope you have enjoyed seeing this come together from start to finish, and I so appreciate you guys watching, and let me know if you try this idea. I'd love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.